The warehouse is open. Tales from the Warehouse, Volume 48, a mid-season check-in. Pleased to be joined once again by NHL Program Director at MeiGray, our friend Geoff Spaid. We're talking about the middle of the season. We're talking about the set ones that have come in. Recent podcast done with our friend Derek Newton, our new old friend Derek Newton, in which we talked about the ease of the pre-order, the excitement of the unboxing, and now a lot of those people have gotten to unbox. Before we get into the guts of the warehouse tonight, let's tell you about a couple of auctions. Over at MeiGrayAuctions.com, pretty interesting stuff. You got to check out the game-worn white throwback Gretzky retirement patch LA King whites. They were worn October of '02. Names like Smolinski and Allison, Matthias Nordstrom, Jamie Storr, and others. It's from, and I love this phrase, Geoff, the MeiGray Vault. The NHL MeiGray game-worn authentication program. It's a set of pretty beautiful. It's an amazing patch. They were worn the night that Gretz was enshrined. They were retired that 99 in LA, and the auction will end on February 3rd. Do check that one out. Geoff, an opinion on those? Really cool patch up close and personal, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're a cool jersey. It's a cool patch for any Gretzky fan. And there's a lot of news at Gretzky in the office. People are always walking around talking about this Gr8 Chase. I hear it all day, and I'm just always shocked that people are such aficionados of the 1975 Japanese film, The Gr8 Chase. I just didn't expect people to be into the Japanese Yakuza, the storyline there. It's just so shocking to me as a film guy that people love that movie.
Yes, it's not the Gr8. It's Alex Ovechkin. Great Gr8. That's the...
Oh,
yes.
That makes more sense, Scott.
All good. Also, at MeiGray Auctions right now, the 2025 Warrior ECHL Hockey Heritage Classic Auction. Between the Kalamazoo Wings, the K-Wings, and the Toledo Walleye, game took place back on January 18th. This auction will come to a close on February 13th. These are really, really sharp. In honor of and in celebration of the 50th Kalamazoo Wings anniversary season. They did a whole bunch of stuff that weekend. These sweaters are really, really sweet. You do not have to be a fan of the E, Mr. Spaid, to have an affinity for either one of these, what these teams wore that day.
Oh, no, they're great looking jerseys. I saw one, Connor, he went out. Maybe you'll talk to him soon about that. But they brought back, I forget which team it is, but there's blood all over the front of it. That's all you need to know. You probably could see it in the auction
game.
Yeah, you could see it on the auctions page. There's blood all down the front of it. I looked at it and I went, that's cool. A gross kind of cool, but still cool. Not as cool as that film, The Gr8 Chase, though. I'm going to have to return a lot of copies of that.
We got to get you on board with The Gr8 Chase, The Great Escape, The Great Santini. There's a lot of movies that we can talk about. That's another podcast to come. Maybe we'll do that for Tales from the Warehouse 50. All right, onward with 48, mid-season check-in. As far as the partner teams, MeiGray's program teams, two of them have done very, very well. Three of them have done well. We got Jersey, we got Minnesota, we got Washington. Columbus is up and coming. Philadelphia has shown signs of life, but we got good stuff going on here, Geoff. Talk to me about the prediction the rest of the way, and then we'll get into the sweaters.
Yeah, I mean, we have excitement up and down the MeiGray program, the MeiGray NHL program. If you look at every team, there's still excitement. Even, let's start at the lows. I mean, Nashville had high expectations coming into the year, and they've struggled. But, I mean, the youth movement there looks exciting. Zachary Leroux, Svechkov. You've got guys coming into that lineup. Adam Wilsby. I mean, you have youth coming in, and they're looking exciting. And Nashville's no longer a rollover team. If you go into Nashville and play, they're going to score some goals.
If
they're going to throw some upsets.
You better be careful when we record.
Exactly. You best be careful if you're up 5-1 going into the third. I mean, it's crazy what can happen. But, I mean, Nashville's not a rollover team anymore. I mean, they've got excitement there. We'll see what they do at the trade deadline. I mean, that's where the excitement is. But as I've said, you're not out of the dance until you're officially mathematically eliminated. And so, you've got your own sort of Gr8 Chase there for a wild card position. Then you got other teams like Columbus. I think they're an exciting team to watch. I actually got a chance to go to Madison Square Garden and watch them in person. It's a very fun team to watch. Werenski looks good. He looks like he might be a Norris candidate. I mean, they've got the Stadium Series coming up. they've got a lot of excitement around that team. The youth has developed. They're looking good. They need some more time to develop and get that chemistry, but they're a lot better than people gave them credit for. And you know what? I thought they were going to be a good team, so I'm excited that they're turning out to be the team we knew they could be. And then you have also on the brink, not Bobby Brink, but Philadelphia Flyers.
Nice segue. Once more.
They're right there too. I mean, Michkov looks good. I think the Flyers need some talent to surround him, but I mean, you've got a good Flyers team there. They're still figuring a few things out, but I mean, they barely missed playoffs last year. They're in the massive hunt in the Eastern Conference for that final wildcard position. Well, final 2 wildcard positions. And then, our other teams like the New Jersey Devils tonight. This might date our podcast a little bit, but they're wearing a Ring of Honor set. That's exciting. And I mean, they're looking to go further in the playoffs than they have in the past. I mean, the Rangers have stumbled, who they've kind of had problems with, and the Carolina Hurricanes have been stumbling. So it looks like the new boogeyman for the Devils is the Washington Capitals, as they are leading the President's Trophy chase. You have Logan Thompson in net, who is making a rather strong case for himself for the Vezina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got a lot of excitement there. And then Minnesota. What's not to like about Minnesota? They're doing really well for themselves out in the Western Conference. I mean, it's the first time you can really pre-order and get your hands on and look forward to Minnesota Wild game-worn jerseys in a consistent way. And I mean, there's so much to love about that. And so I know people have been clamoring. I know our sales inbox got filled when we announced that program. But I mean, Minnesota's a good team. I love watching Minnesota. I think they've got good youth, and they've got the exciting Fleury storyline, his final season, as he said. So, I mean, up and down the MeiGray lineup, just looking at the league, looking at the schedule, it's an exciting close to the year. And we'll see how they finish out. But, you just got to make the playoffs, and anyone can win. So it could be, a team we don't expect could make it all the way, or the league leaders could make it all the way. But I mean, otherwise, gear-wise, game-worn memorabilia-wise, I mean, we have gear like sticks, gloves, helmets, pucks coming in from all sorts of teams. Obviously, set jerseys are coming in, something we'll touch on later. And there are still pre-orders out there. And I know, I've watched the Washington Capitals pre-orders as a Caps fan. Those things disappear so quickly. It's like you just set out like a lemonade stand on a 90-degree day, and all of a sudden it's all gone. You can't get any more. But I mean, there's just a lot of excitement around all of our teams. We always look forward to it. And so it's been a good year. It's been a good year. It's about to get better. We didn't even mention that Connor McDavid partnership with MeiGray and what's still to come. You did mention Columbus in the Stadium Series upcoming with the game at the home of the Buckeyes. Set 2 pre-orders, of course. You know how to do it. And if you don't, listen quickly. sales@meigray.com. We talked about it last episode with Derek Newton. It is a blast knowing that you are watching your sweater in action, and it will be to you inside of a couple of months, or inside of, time frame depends on when you order and when the set stops, but there's nothing like it from a collecting standpoint. And, check out all the interaction on social media surrounding that podcast. And I thank you for those of you who continue to reach out to me on Facebook with all the kind words. It's very, very nice of you. And then, I talked to Jason G., Caps collector, who picked up an Alexei Protas and takes photos. God bless him, because I'm in that booth too. I'm in that boat too, where you take pictures of in-between period interviews on your local affiliate. You're like, oh yeah, look at all that wear. That's fantastic. You can use Getty, or you can do it yourself and hit pause on your TiVo or Verizon VCR, or pick your cable company here. Yeah, whatever. It's so much fun to pre-order, and then know that it comes with the integrity and the backbone that MeiGray, is able to support. But again, sales@meigray.com. There's milestones upcoming. Oh yeah, more, including Gr8 Chase. The Gr8 Chase. I mean, not the movie. Sorry to keep going back to it, but I mean, you have the Gr8 chasing the Gr8 Interesting, they both share first names there. Fun fact, I learned recently. But I mean, that's just excitement coming up and down the league. The league's promoting that out the wazoo. We're getting some good pieces of Ovechkin's career, and that's always exciting. And as a fan of hockey, as a fan of the Capitals, even if I don't have the funds to buy every single piece that comes in, it's still really cool to see the stuff and see how it's all interconnected and interwoven. And I mean, that's just part of the hobby. That's part of the allure of what I do, and that's just excitement. It's just cool to touch, authenticate, see all this historical stuff that people get to cherish and get to see and get to enjoy. So I mean, the Gr8 Chase is the big storyline right now. Will he do it? Won't he do it? When will he do it? He's still got a shot this year, but I mean, that injury slowed him down quite a bit.
The other big story has been the switch over in sweaters. And while we collectors are getting to see these 1 or 2 or 3, God bless you if you pre-ordered and they've all come to your house, and they're, some guys did order multiples. Geoff, you are NHL program director at MeiGray, MeiGray.com. You get to see all of these from the partner teams as they come in. Columbus, Nashville, Philly, Jersey, Minnesota, and Washington, and whatever else is being, sent your way. Talk to us about, as somebody who is, for lack of a better term, immersed himself in the new Fanatics pieces. What are you seeing compared to Adidas?
Yeah, for clarification, the teams, I've not seen every team. And some of the teams like New Jersey, I saw Global Series jerseys, which I can't really count as a full set. Sure. And I get stuff here and there from teams, but we've gotten Washington and Philadelphia set ones, which we'll touch on later. But the big thing I've noticed, and I've seen people talk about, people who pre-ordered, is the jersey fabric's a lot heavier. And specifically, that's because, they double reinforced the sleeve, the forearm, to about just above the elbow. That was to help equipment managers and help players because those forearms were getting torn up in Adidas. And because of the switch from Prime Green to Fanatics Pro jerseys, they changed that fabric from that recycled plastic to more of a traditional fabric, which makes the jersey overall heavier, but it makes it feel more like a hockey jersey. But specifically on wear, what that's done for the jerseys, what that's done for game-worn hobby is you're getting a lot more unrepaired holes and burns on that top layer of fabric, because underneath that arm, they have a second layer of fabric that doesn't even get touched. So teams, you're going to see a lot more burn holes present. Almost looks like, I said it to someone, like you went to a campfire and you picked up a burning stick, or if you smoke a cigarette and you put it out on your clothes and there's just like a hole this big. But there's another layer of fabric under there. So the equipment manager's like, that's fine. Just throw them back out there on the ice. And it's kind of cool, actually, because a lot of times you get all these sewn repairs, but now you're seeing the battle scars stay and live on the jersey and stay consistently. So you're seeing a lot more unrepaired holes. I'm going to use the word gunk here because you're seeing more gunk stick on the jersey. Now, what do I mean by the words gunk? I mean stick marks, I mean puck marks, I mean blood, I mean paint, I mean anything that would be gunky, dirt, whatever. Any color jersey is getting more gunk stuck to it. I mean, even historically, as a Capitals fan, the red jersey's been hard to see. Color is hard to see the gunk stick in, the black marks, the stick marks, the puck marks stick in it. And Adidas had a tendency, I don't know if anyone else noticed it, I noticed it a lot, where the material would wash out a lot of those marks. They'd stick in, they'd be faded. Fanatics is not the case. You get a black mark on a Fanatics jersey, a puck mark on a Fanatics jersey, that hits the goaltender. That's probably going to stick there the entire set and then some, and it will be there till the end of time. I have seen jerseys come in where they have stick marks across the back, and it happened in game 1, and it looks just as fresh as it happened in game 19. I've seen goaltenders, I know, Scott, we talked about it watching Charlie Lindgren. His jersey looked destroyed with puck marks because
and
it just
we'll get
laced
to
him.
White set one in a second because epic. But yes, I hear you.
And so these jerseys are holding a lot more gunk, and they're going to show that a lot better. And so in the past, I know we've talked that you're more of a fan of road jerseys, the white jerseys, because they show wear better. Well, with Fanatics change, I'm seeing a lot more color home jerseys hold that wear and show that wear. And it's not like you have to grab the magnifying glass and say, if you turn the light this exact angle and you look while Mercury's in retrograde, you'll see a little bit of that wear. No, it's like I could just point to it and be like, here's that mark. It's right there. And so that's really cool. The other thing is they changed to more of a fabric instead of the plasticky fabric, which has kind of gone back to Reebok era of pilling. And I don't mean the pulling like Reebok 1.0s used to do.
Right, yeah.
Where it looked like a cat attacked the front of your jersey and pulled all out.
Sweater with the pulls everywhere, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can see that the fabric's rubbing up against, like, players' pants, players' equipment. If you have a defenseman, I saw this on a lot of defensemen where, like, you know, you're fighting in front of the net, someone's hitting you in the back. You get pilling all up and down the back of the jersey. I think it's rather cool. You'll notice it a lot on the back hems of jerseys, especially if the jersey's worn for a long time. The back just has so many pills and pulls that just, it goes back to the day, you know, what people say, the jersey tells the story, the jersey tells you if it's worn. It's a lot easier to tell now. I won't lie there. It's harder to, it might be a little harder to photo match, but the jersey's telling a lot more of the story, which I actually really like. I like heading back in that direction. And then the final thing I've noticed a lot is the shoulder patches, specifically on Washington, because Philly, like I said, I haven't seen. Philly doesn't have shoulder patches, but I haven't seen any other teams like Columbus or Minnesota come in with shoulder patches. But what I've been seeing is that those shoulder patches fray very quickly. You give them 2-3 washes, 2-3 wears, and you'll notice if you're following your jersey in Getty photos or anywhere online, or you're watching, as you said, the interviews, take a look at the shoulder patch. You'll see like 15 threads just poof. It looks like a middle school boy with long curly hair got up and didn't brush his hair. It goes everywhere.
Bedhead on the patches.
It really is, but it's cool, and every patch is different. Every patch has a different pattern to it. And, you know, it just, these jerseys, and this is no knock on Adidas, but these jerseys feel like they wear a lot better. They might not get as many repairs because of the double reinforcement, because it's a heavier material, but they're getting their fair share. And honestly, I think it's a step up in quality, a step up in look, and it's a step up in, I think, the game-worn hobby. I actually like them more than I like the Adidas. And that's crazy to say from how much dislike they gained early on.
Sure. It's Tales from the Warehouse, Volume 48, Midseason Check-In, talking to NHL Program Director Geoff Spaid about what he's seen and what he will soon see. You mentioned Philadelphia and Washington have come in. Obviously, there are name players and there's name wear with both. Let's start with Philly. Who, you know, did they do something different with their repairs? I know, and we'll talk about Washington in a second. And something I noticed, and you can not confirm or deny, but just sort of confirm or go, yeah, I see what you're saying there. What's Philly doing with repairs these days? And who was one of the wear stars or a couple of the wear stars from set one?
Yeah. So Philly, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers collector, or if you've seen a lot of Flyers jerseys, they really like their heat press patch repairs. New Jersey Devils are the same way. I know they're a big team that uses those heat patch pairs, but the Flyers used them a lot in the past because of that thin layer of fabric. However, with the double layer fabric, Philly was a team that had less patch repairs and more sewn repairs. And they were a team where I was seeing, like I talked about, those burn holes sticking in jerseys. That's a team where they're looking at it and they go, this didn't burn all the way through. They're fine. We don't need to patch that up. So you're seeing less patch repairs, which I actually prefer as a game-worn like collector, because I've seen those patch repairs and they're great for what the equipment manager is doing. They're quick, but they start to pull apart and they start to fall apart a little bit over time. And you're seeing less of those and more sewn repairs in Philly. And I like that as a collector. I like that for the collecting base. If you loved patch repairs, all the more power to you, but I've been seeing a lot less of those, which, I mean, you could take it or leave it. I don't know how you feel about it. I like it personally. I think it's going to add more character to jerseys, and you're seeing a lot more sewn repairs across all of Philly's jerseys. Now, as for the best wear, I'll kind of work through a couple guys. You would not think that Bobby Brink, my segue earlier, would have good wear. But, I mean, his white set one, along with a lot of the other team players like Joel Farabee and Cam York, white set one hammered. The white set one was a really good set to get this year for Philly. It looks like they played real hard in it. And, I mean, they've got sewn repairs. They got a lot of those burn holes that weren't fixed. And so you can go to Bobby Brink, a forward. And sometimes forwards don't get the best wear. Bobby Brink's white set one, great wear. Joel Farabee's white set one, great wear. Cam York, defenseman, great wear. But the star of the show was Rasmus Ristolainen.
Oh,
he had both orange and white great repair. I mean, I rolled the rack into my office and you could see the left sleeve of every jersey. And you could see the wear across them. And then you got to Ristolainen. And Ristolainen's jersey looked like someone just said, let's rip the left sleeve fully apart and then try and sew it back together like Frankenstein.
I love it.
The repair was like this big. It was crazy. And everyone would walk in and be like, wow, look at this thing. And that's on a Fanatic's jersey, a jersey where people were like, they're not going to repair that as much. No, Rasmus Ristolainen beat the heck out of that jersey. And he had a huge tear in the hem that they did probably a good couple inch patch to put it back together and then sew it. I mean, Rasmus Ristolainen, his white set 1 was the best in class for Philly. It was just great wear all around. And as I said, all these jerseys too, they're holding that gunk. You could see black marks, you could see stick marks, you could see puck marks all across them. I mean, it was just an impressive set. And I know the adage is that when a team plays better, they get a lot more wear. And though Philly's in that wild card race, in that battle right now to get into the playoff picture, they're getting good wear for a team that's in the growth stage of their franchise right now on the rebuild and the tool up with MeiGray. They're doing well. They are getting good wear, and it's an exciting time to be a Philly fan.
All right. It's also a very exciting time to be a Washington Capitals fan, as you mentioned.
It is.
I know at or near the lead for the President's Trophy. Here's what I noticed with repairs. While you certainly see stitch repairs and sort of the long way where you grab 2 pieces of fabric and you stitch it long way, I noticed, and I could be wrong, a throwback to the old style of the Montreal Canadiens bullet repairs on certain guys' lower sleeves. And I don't know if that was always done by equipment manager Brock Miles, but where you sort of see like the threading just kind of together. And I did see in the past maybe 1 or 2, but it looks like the Fanatics fabric lends itself more to that style.
Yeah, it's harder as an equipment manager to grab 2 layers of fabric because they have to sew through both. They can't just sew through the top one that's burned. Right. So they got to just kind of jam it together and then just throw it in there and get it back together for it to go back out on the ice. So yeah, no, that's happening across. Like the Ristolainen I talked about, that's not the straight scar repair. That's like everything's like this and somehow it's sticking together. So, I mean, Washington did that too. And as I said, a team plays better, they're going to get a lot more wear. And Washington this year, holy, set 1s across the board, very well worn, very well loved. The set dates were rather long, but you had the same old kind of Capitals repairs. For the most part, they didn't change. They've always been a sew and repair team. They keep that tradition up. But for the best wear, you had a lot of defensemen. Martin Ferravari, very well known for his wear, very well known for his hard-hitting play style. All 3 colors of his, red, white, and third. And the third was a short set, but there was like a huge tear in the right sleeve's fabric. It was great.
Good.
But you had
here. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome stuff. But the defensemen were also getting, Ferravari included, like right here on the shoulder. They on either shoulder, depending on the defenseman. They were getting large tears from, I guess, hitting the boards, hitting other players, whatever. That were getting those bullet kind of repairs up here. And I think it was Jacob Chikrin, if I remember, his white set 1, huge repair up on the shoulder. Great repair. And those are the defensemen. We'll touch on a couple other guys real quick as we go before we hit the best in class. Nick Dowd, always a good 4th line center. I love Nick Dowd. He had really good wear up and down his sleeves. A lot of those stitch repairs, the bullet ones. There's also a couple straight ones. Charlie Lindgren, I threw him in there because, as I said earlier, his white set 1, it looked like every puck that touched him decided it wanted to leave a little kiss reminder that it was there. And that thing was just littered with...
For as many games as I watch of them being in the local market, his lower left arm and left elbow, if memory serves, was just tire tread worthy. It was pretty awesome.
It looked like a bike tire. You were 100% right. But for best in class, that goes to John Carlson. His red set 1 was demolished. It was the best in the whole set, over 30 repairs. And that was one of those jerseys, like I said, the sleeves were torn up and sewn back together. But that was a jersey that showed a lot of that pilling I talked about, not only on the inside, like at the bottom hem, but also all the way up the back. And you could see like pulls on the fabric. It looked like he just got attacked on the back. And you can even see some remnants of like a large stick mark going by the 7. Very cool jersey. But overall, if you're looking at kind of the recommendations I gave, I know a lot of people like to pre-order their forwards. They like the goal scoring. They like watching getting assists. They like the goal celebrations. Defensemen are where it's at when you want wear. You want good wear. From what I've seen, defensemen are the way to go. A good heart, not every defenseman, but if you got a hard-hitting defenseman, a guy who's not afraid to get into board battles, that's some good wear right there, especially with how these Fanatics jerseys are wearing now. You want board battles, you want burns, because these burn well, and they burn a lot of unrepaired holes, and they burn a lot of sewn repairs in there.
You want to dance with the pre-order angels, sales at MeiGray.com. Also a reminder, check out MeiGrayAuctions.com, the 2025 Warrior ECHL Hockey Heritage Classic Auction, ongoing. Kalamazoo Wings took on the Toledo Walleye back on January 18th. It was a Walleye 4-3 overtime win. The sweaters are sweet, and that is a word and a half for it. Also at MeiGrayAuctions.com. By the way, that one ends February 13th, ending February 3rd. Really, really cool throwback. Vintage Kings white with the Gretzky retirement patch. That auction will end on 2/3. These pieces were worn October 9th of 2002. And again, names like Storr and Matthias Nordstrom and Andres Lilia. And, the list goes on. Ken Belanger or Belanger, depending on what part of the country you're from. There are certainly Kings that you know and Kings that are desirable in the pile. Jason Allison's there. It's all about the patch, ultimately. Check those out at MeiGrayAuctions.com. Obviously, this is a potential mega milestone season for one Alex Ovechkin. You can never predict the milestones when they occur during a set one, but anything of note with regard to the milestones for the Capitals sweaters?
I mean, we've been getting a lot of requests. We've been getting a lot of people who are following the Gr8 Chase who really want to see Ovi break it.
It's a hell of a movie, Geoff, by the way.
It is. You know what? I highly recommend it. It's just good cinema.
I'm sad that I'm doing this.
No, but I mean, a lot of people are following that. I know there was a lot of hype and excitement around getting to 800, as there was getting to 700, as there was getting to 600. And everyone's eyeing up a way to get a piece of that moment. But you can never predict it. And so if Ovechkin goes out and he doesn't reach this milestone this year and he reaches it next year, well, there's going to be a lot of excitement over the summer and people are going to have time to plan. If he goes out on a heater here and scores 20 goals in the next 15 games, well, there's not a lot of time to think. And that's part of pre-ordering. I mean, you can look up all the milestones in the world, whether it's for the Washington Capitals or your favorite team. No one could have predicted, well, maybe you did, that Zach Werenski would go on such a tear as he has. Right. But that's part of the pre-order. I remember I was looking, Scott, when those pre-orders for Washington came out at the beginning of the year. I was looking at all the sets, and I remember looking, and I go, Logan Thompson might be a good pick. And I thought to myself, I should pre-order a Logan Thompson. And I didn't. And now what do you know? Logan Thompson's making a case for the Vezina. And I'm here kicking myself. But player milestones happen all the time. I mean, with CBAs, with players wanting a piece of their career, which is totally understandable and I totally support. We can't always guarantee milestones. It's great when we get them. Of course. But we can't always guarantee it. But it's great when you pre-order a jersey, you can watch it. And if you know there's a milestone coming up, whether it's 100th goal, 100th assist, whether it's a point milestone or a game milestone, it's great to get in there. And you know what? If you know you want a guy's 1,000th game jersey, or you really want a 300th goal jersey, email us at sales@MeiGray.com. We can see what we can do. There's a lot of wiggle room. I mean, we work with these teams closely. I work with all the equipment managers. They're all great people, and they're very good to work with. And, we not only want to take care of our partner teams and make sure that they and the players and the equipment staff, that everyone over there is getting taken care of and that we're doing what we need to do to protect them and also offer our customer base and make them happy and allow them to gain and collect pieces of the game that they can hold on to and cherish and share with their friends, their family, and eventually with other people. As I've said, we only hold on to these for so long before we can't take them with us to the grave. And
Right.
So, it's pre-ordering's a way to cherish those memories and then share them with others. And so whether it's a milestone, whether it's just a regular old set 1, set 2, set 3, you never know. It's always good stuff.
And set 2 pre-orders underway, even deeper into the season. Sales at MeiGray.com. Even if it's a player you may think maybe on the move with the coming trade deadline. It never hurts to ask to get on that list. Sales at MeiGray.com.
You could be crazy and you could say, hey, sales at MeiGray.com, I want to pre-order, if it ever happens, a Sidney Crosby Washington Capitals jersey, because I would love to see him on a line with Ovechkin. Sincerely, your collector.
Geoff.
And you could write that, send it, and I'll call you crazy. I'll ask you why you would want to do that, but hey, I can't judge you. You're just calling the shots.
You put a stamp on an email, so send it. Sales at MeiGray.com. You mentioned, obviously, Philadelphia and Washington have already been in-house, and then are headed their way or have already headed their way or heading their way towards collectors. Still to come, the Preds, Columbus, Minnesota, and the Devils. I don't want to ask you about predictions because you have an educated guess, having seen several of these teams already, not necessarily this year with Fanatics, but you can judge probably better than anybody dealing with the authentication as NHL program director. You know what wear players put on it. Expectations, if you will, for what's to come when you do get the chance to authenticate these and roll the rack into the Spaid office?
Yeah, I think similarly to the other teams, I think what you're going to see is the overall number of repairs is going to go down because of that double reinforce. But I think the quality of wear is going to go up because of what I talked with the gunk, with the burn holes, with them burning well, with them just holding the wear and pilling and showing it much better than Adidas jerseys did. So I would imagine you're going to have kind of a mix. If you loved Adidas, you might not like Fanatics. I loved Adidas. I think Fanatics is better. Crazy. I can't believe I'm saying that. Should have told me that 6 months ago that I'd be saying it. I would have called you wild. Not the Minnesota wild, just wild in general.
Of course.
But I think, as I said, you're going to see defensemen getting a lot of wear. And so looking at our last 4 teams, if I had to pick a defenseman for every team that I think you should go out and look at, hard-hitting defensemen, they play a clean game. They've gotten good wear in the past. Nashville Predators, I'd say Roman Josi, captain, longtime Pred, great player. Wild, Brock Faber, up and coming, young guy, I think as a defenseman, even if he doesn't get good wear, it's Brock Faber. Why would you not want Brock Faber? Blue Jackets, I think Werenski's a great pick, but I think if you want wear for a defenseman, Ivan Provorov, I think he's gotten good wear in Philly, he got good wear in Columbus and all those Adidas jerseys. If my predictions kind of stay true with Fanatics jerseys wearing well, I think Ivan Provorov's a good candidate for wear. And then for the Devils, Brendan Dillon. Hate to see him in a Devils uniform. Oh, sorry, did I say that as a Caps fan? No, he's great. I love Brendan Dillon. He's hard-hitting. He's hard-nosed. He's got a heart of steel, heart of iron, whatever you want to call it, and fists of steel, I should say. So he's an exciting guy to watch. Man, I wish he was... I loved when he was on the Capitals, but that's a side note. And then I think forwards are still going to get some good wear. If you know forwards who got good wear in the past, you can expect the same. I have down Matthew Olivier for the Columbus Blue Jackets, fighter. He's always exciting. He gets in a lot of fights. He gets in a lot of hits. I think he's going to have some good wear. A little bit of a dark horse. Nico Hischier always got good wear. I always felt like Hischier got some really good wear. He's got the captaincy.
Well, yep.
Yeah. You can, I think Hischier's jerseys are going to be pretty good. And the Devils wear long sets, so, I mean, you've got a lot to look forward there. Nashville, I would lean one of the rookies. I think they're exciting guys, whether you can get your hands on LaRue, Svechkov, Wilsby, anyone like that. Rookie jerseys are always cool. And if you can't, I mean, they've got Steven Stamkos. They've got Ryan O'Reilly. They've got Philip Forsberg. There's great choices across the board. And then, yeah, the Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov. What else do I need to say? But there's a lot of other guys.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Joel Eriksson Ek. You've got
Marco Rossi.
Foligno. You've got Rossi. You've got a lot of guys on that Wild roster that are just exciting. And so I think jerseys are they might have less number of repairs, but I mean, all these guys are great players. They're quality names. They've gotten more NHL goals, points, and games than I ever have. So I can't fault them too much.
Incoming set 2. Sales at MeiGray.com. Mr. Spaid, it's Tales from the Warehouse, Volume 48. Again, lessons learned during this podcast. Gunk is here to stick with the Fanatic sweaters. Pilling is back and on the interior. That's really, really cool to hear. And again, interesting style of repairs, maybe not overall amount, but you never know. Like you said, go look at the John Carlson red. It may be at an expo near you one day soon. Go look at the Ristolainen sweaters, and you never know. But goaltender repairs may also be on the up and up too. Yeah. I'm looking forward to when you get them in, the Markstrom sweaters, Devil's White Markstrom, because I'm fairly certain that's going to show off quite nicely. Check out MeiGrayAuctions.com. LA Kings throwback game-worn white Wayne Gretzky retirement night. 10/9/02 was the date of wear. Names like Storr as a goaltender backup set, but also other names like Smolinski, Allison, and Matthias Norstrom. It's got the really cool 99 patch, worn 10/9/02. That auction ends February the 3rd, ending on the 13th. Blood and ECHL love all over the 2025 Warrior Hockey Heritage Classic auction between the Toledo Walleye and the Kalamazoo Wings, worn back on January 18th. Geoff, thank you as always for the knowledge. This has been Tales from the Warehouse, Volume 48. MeiGray at sales at MeiGray.com. Easy for me to say. Set 2 and beyond, make your requests. This has been fun, and I'm glad we get to do this where we get to see each other, and you can point to shoulder patches, and you can describe on sleeves. It helps the buyer and the collector. For Geoff, I'm Scott. The warehouse is closed.